mother and wife. I'm married to Alex. Children are aged 10 and 8. I've been coming to St. Thomas's for the last 12 years. And I'm originally from South Korea. Came to the UK in '96 to study linguistics.
Okay, so you grew up in South Korea. Again, family background there. Were you? What was your religious background in South Korea?
My father was a devoted Buddhist, but he died of cancer when I was 10 years old. And it was his will for our family to be Christian. He was, those days, cancer was not really curable disease, and it was very, very short time from the diagnosis until he died. And because he was a devoted Buddhist, there were lots of Buddhist monks came and prayed for him. He was given prayer beads and surrounded by Buddhist monks. He was a judge in the small city, so he was quite a prominent person, and obviously word spread, and they came to pray for him. And just a few days before he died, he threw prayer beads and asked my mom, "I want to be Christian." Obviously, it was completely out of blue for everybody else.
Yeah.
Looking back now, obviously it was God's grace, not that he deserved it or he earned it. Nobody came to tell him that, this is what Christian and is like. So it was his will for my family to be Christians. So my mom honored that, and we grew up in Christian tradition. So we went to Sunday school every week and really involved in church life. And when I was in late teens, I even taught at Sunday school. But that's something that we had fun, and that's something we did. And I didn't really ask myself or anybody else, what this is about, what Christian is all about. But it was something really nice thing to do, and we were comfortable. And almost it's like habit, and that's what you do. If you don't do it, it feels strange.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So then at some point you moved over to the UK to study linguistics.
Yes.
And when you came over, would you have thought of yourself practicing Christian when you came over? Did you look for a church and things like that? Or
yes, I think the main change was actually in Korea. So we grew up as Christians, went to church, but then I went to university, and it was in a different city. Then I had such a freedom that my mom wasn't living next to me, asking me to come to church. I didn't have any Christian friends who would ask me to come to church with them, or even, I was kind of anonymous. Nobody knew me, and I was enjoying new freedom, new friendship, and new way of life from studying to such a, freedom. So I really became really distant from Christian life, church life, and I just enjoyed my life. And so that went on, and Christian people were visible in the university campus. They will actually meet up once a week in the middle of the campus when the weather is nice. They're singing songs, playing guitars, and I felt really, that was really embarrassing. So.
So would people have known? Did your friends know that you were?
No, I didn't know. But just looking at them, even just looking at them singing in the middle of campus, looked so joyful. But I just felt, not for me. And so I didn't want to be found out that I was Christian. So I would actually walk different route to avoid them. Then after university, I started working for an airline company, Korean Air, and. In Korea, when you apply for a job, obviously you have to fill out your CV, and there's a religion section. So obviously, without thinking, I put Christian in the religion section, and my boss was a committed Christian. And she kept inviting me to Christian Union meeting, and so I said no, as much as I can say no, because culturally it's very hard to say no to your boss all the time. That means you might not be promoted, you will have an awkward relationship, so it will affect your career as well. So,
do you remember at that point when you're saying no, what you were thinking?
Well, why would I go to Christian Union? I haven't been sort of to church, and even though I put down as Christian on the CV, I probably didn't think I regard myself as a Christian. So after a couple of months saying no to my boss, eventually had to go, very reluctantly, because I thought, that's it, I run out of excuses, I've got to go. So I went along to the meeting, and it was held in a quite old, famous church in the center of Seoul, and it was after work, so very close to the office. And even though the people there were all very senior people to me, and because I was quite junior then, they were very, I was quite surprised how friendly they were, how open they were, and I can actually sense the warmth and genuine peace. So somehow I kept going every week to the Christian Union meeting, and got involved in the worship teams. I was playing piano for singing and things like that. And after a few months, they were organizing a trip to Japan to support one of the colleagues who was working in Tokyo office. And he was also working as a missionary.
Right.
Because religion-wise, South Korea is very different from Japan. People say about a third of population in South Korea Christian, whereas less than 1% of Japanese people claim to be Christian. So it's very different. So he was obviously working for an airline company, but on Sunday he was obviously helping the church. So we decided to actually visit him, to support him by putting some events on. And because I was playing piano in the meetings, I kind of got involved in. So we prepared some songs, different languages, English, Korean, and Japanese, and with an actions, well, a lively sort of singing session and a few other things. So we prepared that and went to visit him. And because the churches he was involved in had mixed congregations, so the church he was supporting in the morning was half Westerners, so North Americans and Europeans, and half Japanese people. The church he was involved in the afternoon was half Japanese and half Korean, so we had to cater for all sort of different languages. Yes. So we prepared the songs, and so we went to see him, and I think probably I can't forget the day we visited those churches. It's not that I had a burning desire for the mission in mind, care about Japanese people or care about all those things that he was involved in, or I regard myself as Christian and this is something that I really want to do. But I did go. But then we started singing the songs we prepared, and something just amazing happened, that I almost felt that God's love was descending like invisible snow. And I can't actually explain it, but it was like God is reaching down to me saying that I'm here, I'm real, and I love you, and I want you to know me, and I love everybody, not just me, but everybody. And I must say that there has been a tension between Korea and Japan because of the historical background. Japan colonized Korea for 50 years, and so even though it wasn't my generation, it's a few generations ago, we still have that thing in our mind. So obviously I didn't have that compassion in me to actually to care about people in front of me. I was just singing along, but God was saying that I love you, but I love everybody. And I just couldn't stop crying. I started crying, but amazing thing was it wasn't just me. It was the people who were singing, it was the people who were in the congregation, and we ended up just hugging each other, and it was amazing. Korean people are quite emotional people, so they will laugh, they will cry, and they're not afraid of show their emotions, whereas Japanese people are slightly different. They're quite reserved and controlled with their emotions. And whether with Japanese or Europeans, all the people in the congregation just crying and hugging each other. And similar thing happened in the afternoon as well. And after that, we basically went to the big square, very busy square in front of the big department store in the center of Tokyo. And what we were going to do was something that I hated in my university days. We prepared the songs with the guitars and keyboard and singing songs in a busy square. And we had a little track to distribute as well. And it had just simple sort of details of the churches we visited. And at the back, it had a Bible verse written on it. that God so loved the world, he gave his only son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. So we did what we can. The colleague who was working in Japan said, well, we do what we have to do, but don't sort of be discouraged, because they will be very polite to accept the flyer, but they will actually throw away when you're not looking. Yeah. So that was, I know that lots of people meet God or find out about God in many different ways, but I'm sure that was the moment that God actually reached down to me and met me in person. And even more amazing thing was, we came back, and obviously life went on, and the colleague actually wrote us a letter, and actually quite a lot of people turned up at church because of the little simple flyer. So since then, I started actually going to church with more sort of intention. What is Christian all about, and who Jesus is, and why he came, and why he had to die, and whether I can really trust it. I thought I knew all about what's in the Bible. I even taught at Sunday school, and I thought I understood it, but I don't think I really asked the questions. How does that actually relate to me personally? And it's a nice story. It's possibly real and true, but it didn't really affect my life. So I probably knew it all in my head, but not in my heart. So that was the turning point. And when I decided to go abroad, come to UK to study, my mum...
How long ago was this before you came to the UK?
Probably a couple of years before I decided to come to the UK. And my mum really wasn't happy that her daughter was going to go abroad, and I'm not really young person, and what's expected in the culture would be, you got a decent job working for an airline, so now it's time to find a nice husband and get married and have family, and that's the least thing that she would want me to do, go abroad, study and suffer, because so she didn't have a lot of money to support me, so she was a bit worried. So we had a long arguments of I can't go abroad, and eventually she gave up and she let me go. So when I came to UK, I started going to church, but it wasn't very easy until I started the university proper and started going to the Christian Union. The local church I attended was very small, and there weren't many people that I can actually talk to, relate to, support me, and I can support. So it wasn't very easy in the local church. So when I started going to the Christian Union, that's where the faith became real again. There are so many lovely Christians who'd be in a completely difficult and horrible situations, but really trust the Lord and support me, and we prayed together, we studied the Bible together. And also what helped me was, because university campus, there are so many different students from different background, different religion. So not only I'm digging deeper into Christian faith and learning more, but I also get to talk to a lot of other students who came from different religion, and as university student, we debated a lot as well, and find out about different religion, and also learn and got to realize how valuable the Christianity is, because it is real and it is comforting. So that really helped me to settle in the UK.
Right, great. And then, and what brought you to St Thomas's? How did you end up here?
When we got married, we were looking for a house to buy and where to go. My in-laws live in northwest England, in Lancashire, so the North London would be better than South London, because it will add to the journey to travel to visit my in-laws. And also my husband Alex works in the city, so it would be a very easy commute. And also we had a lovely friends who was living in the area, coming to St Thomas's. So we went to have a look at the area, and we liked it. We came to St Thomas's, we liked it, that's how we came.
Great. And then with your story, you're saying you had this encounter with God, and the reality of his presence and his love put upon you, and that sent you sort of searching more deeply into Jesus and who he is and so on. How's that, so over the years from then, How would you describe your relationship with Jesus now?
In a way, like a baby, spiritual baby and child, I needed lots of help. I had a lot of questions, and I needed to be cared for, and I had to be loved. And God provided that, put lots of lovely Christians along my path to help me and being real about it. And obviously you've got to read the Bible by yourself, and the God gives you wisdom to understand it and know it's true. So all those years, I think, God nurtured me in a way so that I can be close to him and be more like his son. But also by sharing, when it got to the point that this is real, this is true, then I've got to tell others, because I can't just, being selfish and just, kept it in my heart and, hide the treasure. I have to share it with others. So that also helped, I think, for my faith to grow, to share with others and tell them the good news so that they can hear and they can find out the truth. And of course, it's not what I do or what I say, it's what Bible says and how God works through their life. Some people accept Christ very quickly, some people it takes years and years, and some people don't. But it's not what I do or what I say, it's what God has done and what he will do and he is doing. So it comforts me, and also that's how I actually, can be joyful, that that's what really matters. And obviously it's not easy sometimes, and where we are, and with 2 young children, not too young at the moment, but the people you can meet and people you talk to are fairly, well off. They don't really need help, they don't have problems. And that's what I felt. But actually one day I was sitting in the cafe having a chat with friends, and I saw the notice board, and it had a full of advert about meditation, life coaching, and spiritual healing. And then I realized people are seeking, people are in need, it's just they don't know where to look. So it will be wonderful that we can actually share this good news and point people, but it's God's work. So, but my faith actually was helped actually to grow by sharing God's good news as well.
Brilliant. Thank you.